too. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing started with Patrick Mahomes, and why wouldn't we begin there? It's been a postseason to remember for him, throwing 8 touchdowns with no interceptions in victories over the Titans and the Texans. But now he gets set for his toughest test in the 49ers defense. They'll try their best to contain him. Here's what they're saying about it.
He's able to hit every single pass. I mean, off his back leg, jumping in the air. Obviously, his no-look passes, his sidearm is crazy. So he's able to, hit every receiver when he can. So we just need to do a really good job, like I've been saying, with just, bringing constant pressure, making him uncomfortable in the pocket and not allowing him those easy throws.
We can't let him out of the pocket. We got to close those A and B gaps and not let him get the edge. Rush as a unit, make him throw uncomfortably, and yeah, that's all you could do.
Ain't nobody tell me about it.
Okay, so we have assembled a plethora of great defensive minds here. That's not really the right way to say it, but either way, a lot of defense on this table. So, Rex, if you were preparing to face Patrick Mahomes, what would you do to try to limit him?
Well, the first thing you have to do is you got to rattle his cage. Somehow you got to rattle his cage. And does that mean blitzing? Does that mean whatever? Well, for the most part, yeah, if you assume, how would I come after I'd blitz him? But not with this team, not with this personnel. This personnel you have 9 defensive linemen active on game day. No team in the league has that. And by the way, 5 of them are first-round picks. 4 of them are top 10 picks. So to me, that's how you get it done. The great thing about this is what makes it easy is that you don't have to stop the run. Right. So you're going to stop the run on the way to the quarterback. You have 60 minutes of rushing the passer. And you built this team that way. We'll see if it works.
So, Rex, I like everything you said, but you're wrong about one thing. First, you start with prayer. That's the first thing you do. If you're going up against Patrick Mahomes, you send a word up to whoever it is you believe in and ask for some help. But from there, I think the D-line is good, but that's not sufficient. You're also going to have to blitz him aggressively. I think 0 blitzes. We can't do zone dogs. We got to be aggressive and 0 blitz him. Not every down, but you catch him off guard. You can get him flustered and you get him to throw the ball away. Here's the Ravens this season sending extra. They're in 0. He gave up on the play before anybody even got to him and threw it away. Here's another game earlier where you have a free runner off the edge on 3rd and 9 in these situations. He's going to flush him out of the pocket. One of the worst things is just send one blitz. He can break one blitzer and make a big play out of that. If you send a gang of guys, he has to flush and make a play. You can't make a habit out of it. They'll check the screens and those sort of things, but you can do that on early downs to scare him out of what he wants to do.
You can't make it a habit out of it. You have to confuse him, and I don't mean that you're going to throw things at Patrick Mahomes that he hasn't seen, but you need to make him make decisions once he gets the ball. If he gets to the line, he knows you're in man, or he knows you in 0 blitz, he's going to be able to figure out how to get the ball out of his hands. And if he does that, then you're in trouble. And I agree with Dom on the prayer part, but along with the prayer, let's get some turnovers. That's what you have to do. If there's a tip ball, if there's an overthrow, there can't be dropped interceptions. When you get opportunities to turn the ball over against Patrick Mahomes, you have to capitalize because he is going to make plays.
Well, Pat Mahomes is going to be praying too, so that eliminates your prayer. Here's the thing you got to do. The defensive line, to me, is the most important. And we talked about how talented they are. I'm talking about from a communication standpoint. The 4 guys up front. And then when you do bring that pressure, you guys are talking about, everyone has to understand what their responsibility is. You see here, like, I'm going to show you a tape with the Texans. J.J. Watt, if you keep outside contained, this blitz gets home.
Right.
But what Andy Reid does is he sends his back over. J.J. decides to take the inside route on the back. It creates an open free lane for Pat Mahomes to go create. And look, I've said it time and time again, we got to start talking about him as a dual threat guy, because now he's starting to pick up and make game-changing plays with his feet. Here's a similar situation. This is a pretty good pocket, but one of those D tackles has to press back to the center of the line of scrimmage. If you don't, 15 identifies that and he gets out. And even on this play, Bernard McKinney was spying Patrick Mahomes. So he's an athletic quarterback that has a gunslinger mentality.
You know what else we knew? We knew Michael Jordan was going to shoot a fadeaway. You knew that, didn't you? But you couldn't stop it.
But there wasn't 4 of them.
The reason why I kind of disagree with relying only on the D-line, because that D-line is great. They're going to get some sacks, but that O-line for the Chiefs is also great. And I don't know if one sack is equivalent to the 60-yard touchdown that he's going to throw. So, he's going to give us some sacks, and he's going to overcome 3rd and 13
well, if you blitz all the time, you're going to give up plenty of long touchdown
Spoken
throws.
like true
And to
secondary
me,
guys,
look,
Rick.
no team blitzes less than the San Francisco 49ers. And you really think they're going to change now? No chance of it. They're going to have to mix their coverages and get after the quarterback that way.
They better not make a habit out of that cover 3 because Andy Reid loves 4 verts, and Patrick Mahomes is going to eat those seams alive if that's what they think they're going to make a living out of.
I think you're going to see a lot of two-man on third down.
And he's going to run the ball.
Either
No,
way,
but you can't
there
now
you
with
go,
that group.
49ers. Now you have the recipe to limit Patrick Mahomes from these guys. Let's get to the other quarterback in this game, Jimmy Garoppolo. Some people say he's a game manager. Not so fast, my friends. He owns a passer rating of 154 outside the pocket. That would be the highest mark in any quarterback season since ESPN began tracking these things in 2006. He's completed 60% of his passes, throwing 15-plus yards beyond the line of scrimmage. That's the highest mark of any quarterback in the NFL this season. And with the game on the line, he's been money. Garoppolo owns a QBR of 84 out of 100 in the fourth quarter of the game within one possession. That is, you guessed it, the highest mark in the NFL. Dan Graziano, our NFL insider, is here. He's got Orlovsky and Louis Riddick over there. And guys, what do you think about Jimmy G?
Yeah, Laura, we got high-level football intellect over here making us smarter. Dan Orlovsky, you look at Jimmy Garoppolo. Hasn't had to do much in this playoff run. What's the biggest key for him on Sunday?
Well, big thing is going to be third down, and he's been great in third down this year. In the NFL this year, under pressure, third down situations, he's got the best completion percentage, and he's got the most yards per attempt. We saw it in that Minnesota game in the playoffs where he had to make some good third down conversions under some forms of pressure, and he delivered. We saw it in the Saints game, in the Rams game that everyone talks about when he had to step up late in that game on a third down situation to push the football downfield. Jimmy G has proven to us that when the moment has presented itself, he's answered the call this year. If we talk about, like, do you trust Jimmy G late in the football game, he's been in that situation 6 times this year when he's had to get the football and go lead that team to a score to win the football game. He's 4-2 doing that. This season, the 2 losses, he sent them into overtime against the Seahawks, and then he gave them the lead against the Falcons, and the defense gave up that lead. We have not seen Jimmy Garoppolo have the opportunity to win the football game in the fourth quarter late and fail this year.
Louis, do you trust Jimmy Garoppolo if he has to carry the 49ers to a victory on Sunday?
Yeah, actually, I do. Look, philosophically, they're not built the same way Kansas City is. Kansas City's built to throw the ball early, throw the ball late, throw the ball in the fifth quarter, throw the ball on the bus, throw the ball at practice. That's just how they're built. That's how Andy wants to do things. He's wanted to do that since he became head coach of the Eagles in 1999. San Francisco does things differently. San Francisco obviously will show you. We'll throw the ball 8 times and run it down your throat. San Francisco takes kind of a New England Patriot mentality, which is we'll do whatever we think is working best to win that day, which means our philosophy is kind of like an amoeba. We'll just move it around. So Jimmy hasn't had to have a steady diet of throwing the football in order to win. If he gets into this kind of shootout, obviously I think it plays to the favor of the Kansas City Chiefs because Patrick's different. Patrick's on a different level. We've known that. We've known that since the first time he stepped on the field. But if Jimmy had to get into a shootout, he showed. He went down to the Superdome. We all know what the Superdome is like. We all know what that environment is like. We all know what it's like when Drew Brees and Michael Thomas are on a roll. And he said, you know what? I'll see that throw and I'll raise you one. I'll raise you another one. And if you look at their perimeter players, if you said, look, I'll give you Deebo Samuel, I'll give you Kendrick Bourne, I'll give you George Kittle, and I'll give you Emmanuel Sanders, you think you can win a shootout? I'd be like, hell yeah, I can win a shootout. So let's just see how this plays. I'm hoping it plays out that way because I think that'll be exciting for the fans. And I think, quite honestly, I think Jimmy will announce to the world, look, I'm a pretty darn good quarterback. I'm not saying he's on Pat's level. I don't believe that, and I'm picking the Chiefs to win the game. But I think he would be able to compete in that kind of situation to where he's not going to lose the game for them.
And we need to get people to understand, this is a 13-3 football team, right?
Yep.
3 losses on the last play of the game. So just because they've got the great defense and the great defensive line and the really good run game in George Kittle doesn't mean that their quarterback's not really good as well. All of those things can be true, and we've seen it with the 13-3 record. I mean, this is the most dominant team from week 1 to week 17 and through the playoffs in the NFL this year. And the quarterback is part of the reason why.
We're just getting started with all kinds of NFL content here today. Laura, what do you got?
Yeah, let's get to Dak because it's the contract we've been talking about since August as impending free agent Dak Prescott awaits a new deal from the Cowboys. He sat down with SportsCenter's Sage Steele and expressed how he feels about where he stands with the team in his negotiation.
Just say I'm confident. I'm confident a new contract is coming. I'm confident in my agent and my team, and confident in the Cowboys that something will get done.
Can you picture yourself playing anywhere else?
when you're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, there's very few positions in sports that are even comparable. So from a little boy, I've always imagined being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and I've been blessed to be that, and never imagined wearing anything else.
So Dan Graziano, our NFL insider, we've asked you this question so many times. Where do we stand from what you're hearing with Dak in these negotiations with the Cowboys?
He keeps using that word confident in that soundbite, and I think that's where it's been all along from his standpoint and from the team's. No deal yet, but they're both sides are confident there will be at some point. The Cowboys know they can franchise him if need be. He knows that he can live with that because that would be about $27 million, and he just played last year for $2 million. So neither side has had to move toward each other to bridge the gap. At some point they will. There's no reason for anyone out there watching to fear that Dak Prescott won't be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys this year and beyond. It's just a matter of them getting to that magic number.
Yeah, more from Dan Graziano and the guys over there. But